The CEO and Group CMO of Teads. Please welcome Teads to the stage and give them your attention for a few minutes.
Thank you, Steve. Good morning. So I was told I have 10 minutes and I have 55 slides, so I'm going to talk really quickly about AI. It's going to be the fastest crash course in AI you've ever seen. My name is Emi. I'm the CEO of Teads Studio, which is the creative technology arm of Teads, and the CMO of the group. And we're going to talk about AI, what it's going to do to our future, and implicitly the advertising industry. But before I do that, I want to talk a little bit about why I'm here on stage talking about AI. So I am a software engineer entrepreneur. I'm originally from Bucharest, Romania. If you don't know Bucharest, it is the city where Michael Jackson came in 1993, went up on stage in front of 50,000 people and said, "Hello, Budapest." That was not very nice of him, but we liked him anyway. So I run the Teads Studio team. The Teads Studio team is focused on helping advertisers create better ads by using data, using AI, using designers and creative. But I'm not going to talk about Teads Studio, I'm going to talk about AI. So what is AI? Well, so computers, scientists have had the drive to build computers that can think for as long as computers have existed. And in order for a computer to think, it needs to be able to do three things. It needs to have the ability to learn, it needs to have a lot of data to train itself, and it needs to be able to train itself with that data very cost effectively. And AI has existed in the minds of scientists forever, but it's not until very recently that it's actually started being useful. It started being useful because of something called deep learning. So what is deep learning? Deep learning is a way that scientists have created to replicate the way the human brain works. So how does the human brain work? Well, the human brain is a bit like Manhattan. At the street level, you have these connections between the neurons. They're called synapses. And then the skyscrapers are the neuron blocks. The brain is structured in blocks of 100 neurons. And then the brain is a massive pattern recognition machine. So all that it does is it recognizes patterns. And at street level, it recognizes very simple patterns like a dot or a line. As you move up into the skyscraper, it uses those simple patterns like dots and lines to recognize more complex patterns like a square or a rectangle. And then as you move up, it recognizes even more complex pattern like the chairs you're sitting on. And at the top of the skyscraper, it can recognize the most abstract type of pattern, which is the human face. So if you wanted to recognize a human face in an image, how would you go about that? By building one of these AIs. So basically, when an AI looks at a photo, what it does is it looks at a collection of pixels. And what it does with those pixels is it compares them between each other. So at the very most superficial first layer, it looks at these pixels and says, are there any differences between the pixels? And it calls those edges. So the difference between the skin and the hair will be an edge. And then in the next layer, it takes that edge and it asks the question, is that edge part of a more complex pattern, like an eyebrow or an eye? And then it takes that eye and it says, is this eye part of a more complex pattern, like a face? A face cannot have three eyes, so if it has two eyes and two eyebrows, it's a face. And computers have now become better than humans at detecting objects in images and videos. So the average human rate is 4.8% whenever looking at an image and correctly identifying objects. The best AIs are currently 4.3%, so they're better than us at detecting images. A team of YouTube decided to take an AI and train it on 10 million YouTube videos and ask the AI what it sees. And it came back with these three images. These are not drawings by humans, they're drawings by an AI. So it came back with what it looks like a face on the left-hand side there. In the middle, there's a kind of a human body, and obviously this is YouTube, so there are a lot of cats. So you can see a shape of a cat there. And again, this is an AI looking at videos and identifying things. What's making all of this possible is something called Moore's Law. If you haven't heard of Moore's Law, it's a law that says that every 18 months, you can put twice the number of transistors on a chip, which means computing increases twofold and cost decreases twofold. If the trajectory continues by 2025, we should have computers that can do 10 to the 25 computations per second, which is about what the human brain does. Another way to look at exponentiality is if the number of computations per second was the Lake Michigan, the size of Lake Michigan, and then the computations per second are each double every year. Each drop means it doubles. You'll see that for a very long time, it doubles and it doesn't really make an impact. And then as the number of computations continue to double because of exponentiality, it fills up very quickly. Another way to look at it is if you count from 1 to 40 linearly, when you're at 40, you're at 40. If you count from 1 to 40 exponentially, when you're at step 40, you're at 1 trillion. So, all right, deep learning, very large data sets, and cheap and fast computing is what's making AI possible today. So, scientists kind of agree that there are 3 types of AI. There's narrow AI, a very simple thing that can do one thing, like Alexa recognizing voice. There's general AI, which is an AI that can learn any type of thing. And then there's super AI that nobody agrees on when it will happen, but most people agree that it will at one point. So with this kind of framework in mind, what does a day in our life look in 2025? I have 6 more minutes. So you wake up in 2025, you pull out your iPhone 10, right? You can see that's an iPhone 10, 20, sorry. Well, I don't think that's the interface in the future. I actually think the interface of the future looks something like this.
How would you describe your relationship with your mother? Thank you. Please wait as your operating system is initiated.
So, I don't know if you've seen the movie Her. It's kind of the story between a guy and an AI. And this, I believe, will be one of the main interfaces in the future. We're already seeing this, and it was talked about on stage today. We have Siri, Alexa, Cortana, and so on as one of the interfaces of the future. So you wake up, you talk to your computer. What do you do then? You have breakfast, right? So today, you have an omelet or whatever you have in the US. I believe in the future, you'll just ingest a pill, and that pill will communicate to your phone as to what nutrients you need. If you think that's crazy, there's a company in Japan building these pills that can take 360 videos of your intestines if that's something you want to see. So that pill, you can add more sensors to it. It communicates what nutrients we need. It communicates with your fridge. And then Amazon just launched Amazon Key, so they can actually put those products in your fridge without you being at home. So these devices are obviously connected. You can buy connected phones, connected fridges, connected microwaves. And ARM, which is the largest company producing these connected devices, thinks there are going to be 100 billion of them by 2025. So basically, everything is going to be connected. Fast forward to 8:45 a.m., you're going to work, you get in an Uber, there's a lot of traffic. I actually think that in the future, that's not going to happen anymore because all cars are going to be driven by AIs, and they're going to be much more efficient. This is already happening. It's not a surprise to anybody. Tesla cars have driven, 100 miles on autopilot already. They've had 2 incidents, both of them caused by humans. So 11 a.m., you want to be smarter because you have a big problem to solve at work. So what do? Well, there's this scientist at Google called Ray Kurzweil. He's the director of AI or engineering at Google, and he believes in something called the connected brain, which is, in the future, you'll be able to ingest these nanobots and buy more computing power for your brain using something like Amazon Web Services. If you think this is crazy, Elon Musk started a company to do just that, and I never bet against Elon Musk. All right, so future of entertainment. It's 1 p.m., you're at work, you're watching some cat videos while you're having lunch. I think the future is more exciting than that, so I want to talk about 2 companies. One of them is DJI. They build these drones that can drive themselves more recently. And then there's Oculus, which was acquired by Facebook. So what if someone took these 2 things together, put them together, and instead of watching cat videos, you could drive a drone through the Vatican, put on your Oculus Rift during your lunch break, and have much more exciting entertainment opportunities. So it's 3 p.m., you're getting bored at work. What do? You browse some art online. If you look at this here, it's an AI that a team of scientists built to paint as very well-known artists like Kandinsky, Picasso, and so on. So they took the image at the top left, and they trained an AI to draw like those other artists, and this is what the AI came back with. And it got so good that then they asked the AI to create its own art. They put that art in front of people, and they asked them which pieces of art are done by humans, which are done by AIs. Humans were not able to distinguish. And then they decided, let's take an AI and make it build some really amazing, innovative new art, and it came back with this. So it's one psychedelic AI, if you ask me, but it's quite nice. All right, so 6 p.m., let's say you're traveling, you're going to a hotel. I believe in the future, the hospitality industry, hotels included, will be run by robots. If you think this is crazy, I was in Japan, I don't know, 6 months ago, and there's a hotel there called Henna that is completely run by robots. Henna means strange in Japanese. All right, so it's 8 p.m. You want to read or watch some content online. What happens today is if you go and read an article, Teads is going to show you a beautiful ad in the middle of the article. However, it's going to be one ad, a video ad for all the audience exposed to a campaign. I actually think in the future, we're going to create ads for every single individual exposed to a campaign. So as a brand, instead of paying $1 million to a creative agency, creating one TV ad and then running that on digital, what you'll do is you'll create a storyline, and that storyline will be personalized based on who's watching the ad. So in this case, this is a campaign created for PlayStation. Instead of showing one ad, I'm going to show you an ad that personalizes based on who's watching the ad. And you're going to have 3 types of gamers that are watching it. So,
Rated RP to M.
So, Gary, we're looking for someone who's cool under pressure. A quick thinker. Someone who won't back down from a big challenge. Does that sound like you?
all right, so I'm running out of time. So as you can see, they're getting different versions of ads. In this case, it's segments. It's 3 different segments. In the future, I believe it's going to be every single impression of the campaign is going to get a different ad personalized to that individual using AI and data. The way this would work is you have first-party data from the advertiser, second-party data from a publisher, third-party data that we at Teads acquire from other providers. What we do with that is we build a 360 profile of the user, and then based on that 360 profile, we predict whether that user is likely to take a certain action and whether that action will increase if we run version 1 of the ad or version N of the ad. So by doing that, we can deliver the right ad at the right time with the right creative. All right, so it's 10 p.m., you've had a long day, you want to back up your brain in the cloud. In the future, I strongly believe this will be possible. Again, Elon Musk is working on it, and again, I don't bank against Elon Musk. So basically, AI is going to permeate every single aspect of our lives, from cars to advertising. So what should we do? As people in the advertising industry, media industry, what should we do? Well, all of these things that I've talked about will happen using narrow AI, maybe some general AI. They don't need super intelligent AI. Maybe the backing up your brain in the cloud will, but most of the other ones need narrow AI and general AI. We already have narrow AI, and general AI is going to be here by 2025. So what should we do? Well, the first thing is embrace it. It's going to happen, whether we like it or not. But then I wanted to make 3 recommendations for this audience of things that are very pragmatic and practical to do. So the first one is to build teams of creatives and engineers working together. Right now, if you look at the industry, we have creative agencies working separately from media agencies, from publishers, from vendors. And I believe that in order to best leverage AI, we need these teams to work together. Secondly, invest in a data strategy and a DMP. An AI is only going to be as good as the data you use to train it. So if you don't have lots and lots of data, it doesn't matter what kind today, you're not going to be able to have a very smart AI. And then the third thing is I wanted to end on a more personal note and recommend 3 books that everyone in this audience could read to get up to speed with this. So the first one is called Life 3.0. It talks about our life in a world dominated by AI, or where everything runs on AI. Second one is called The Circle. It's a novel written by Dave Eggers about a company called The Circle. In the future, that's a combination of Google, Facebook, Tesla, SpaceX, and so on. They made a movie. It's not very good. Read the book. And lastly, there's a book called Superintelligence, written by Nick Bostrom, which is a British professor. It talks about the various different avenues we have to get to AI. And lastly, don't forget, it is Bucharest, not Budapest. Thank you very much.
Emi, thank you very much, Emi.
Thank you,
Emi